Look at that thing. It doesn't even go wash.
I had a demo with the guy and I looked him up and he's kind of needed like he was wearing a Harley Davidson t-shirt. They gave us like an email. I was like, but I knew it going into the thing. It was planned. It was planned.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Not that.
That thing really just got in mind
It's got a little kick. So. If you get any next week, I'll be up for it. Well, yeah. Sure.
We're going to have to have a company wide panel go out without pushing your chair in. Up and leave your desk. Push the panels in this morning. I can't.
Yes, fellas. They invite. Oh. They might want to cuff that. Not cuff that.
So you did see that?
That was in a positive way. I will.
Oh, no, I didn't get it.
I know it's true. No, it's
So they told me,
Yes,
when I went to DC, I just used my clear,
Okay.
and I found
I'm
it,
not
and I
sure
went
what's
to,
the-
on the way back, I had my old California stuff. I had my California use stuff, said that it was expired, so I can technically use that even if it's not voice for it. Yeah. But I didn't question it, and I got to the airport so early, and that airport had me 3 days, so I just got there.
The pork again. The snacks is actually put it off and put a little bit of olive oil. So I'll cover it. Very well put. Usually not.
I've been asking people like, yeah. And I remember like, yeah, like all my hours. And then people the next day, I was like, I'm going to get this with my friends. And I was like, oh my god, I'm so disappointed.
Try to keep it simple. I enjoy cooking.
I was like, alright. Like,
Like I do stuff very I want to come home.
I know a lot.
I know you feel we have, like, I think we have to get up earlier than a lot of people to get here. So it's okay at that point. Get that earlier. I'm not asleep. You said it. Yeah. Or last night I said one. Second floor. We'll get it every 4 years.
Yeah, it's like you need special.
The order of the fun that. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think so. Because in order to get it, a certain polling percentage where you had to like fundraise a certain amount. There were a bunch of Republicans who donated to her campaign just to get her on the stage.
That's actually
Yeah, that's a pretty good troll.
it's not. And it sure is your base. Like, yeah, they just took
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, I hear of Pardon?
the newspaper. It's not, and I guess, is it your own name? But you're not fundraising myself.
Well, I think
Um,
no. My cutoff is if you're polling, you shouldn't be. You got lunch today, Nick? Vegetables. No. You got
it's missing like 30% of the screen.
oh, what was that?
Somewhere close to the center.
You were looking at a laptop or what?
On the monitor of the big desktop monitor.
No.
The laptop works. Mostly just the. It worked. It's just like it doesn't click properly. It's like stuck down there. It's like you got to push under. Like you never can help. So I just because like it's a whole shoulder action anyway. This is just an elbow action. And it gives you like access to more joints. You have all your fingers on.
You gotta crank up your sensitivity so you can feel wrist
That's too much.
snapping. But to answer your question, I don't like having to do all the finger cleaning as well. So.
Windows.
Mark, yeah, I'm
I want to be explicit about what I'm doing. I have a MacBook Pro actually. Never.
No, what do you use does not give for school.
What that?
The one you got.
Yeah. Times Square. That's it.
That's a crazy lady in the tunnel. That's
Nice.
more chicken.
Trying to do the pork chop. Every night.
Every day.
Every day.
Oh, I see. So when you cooked on Sunday, you just made a bunch of the same meal.
Pretty easy. I do require more. Just university.
She's doing the same thing.
Once a week.
She's just like, yeah, you want to do that, you can do that stuff.
How soon are you
Yourself, she did a lot of catching up from the 2 weeks that she basically didn't do any studying. Apparently they have next week off from studying. Like it's the 4th. So she's gonna catch up.
How far up?
July 30th is starts on July 30th.
Is it all organized?
So if you didn't take the ethics portion of the bar after your 2 year, it's 3 days, I think. But she already took that. And she got his pass fail. And she had literally anything in order. She needed the pass. Which she told me meant that she maximized her efficiency. Which
That's possible thing you did, which I think is about
was an employer appropriate answer.
just that's an engineering answer.
Or an engineering,
But like for ethics, like I am as ethical as I can.
For the context, it didn't say she did the most effective thing, just the most efficient thing.
It's kind of an interesting test because you would think like you look at it and just choose like
So long as
it's not your answer or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And she described it as you look at it and you don't say to yourself, you look at the multiple choice, you look at the answer, you don't say, what would Jesus do? You say like, yeah, what would the kind of like stuffing version of Jesus?
because that's what the lawyers are fine with. It's the same with prison too. It's not even fun. It's like the culture is more dishonest to assume things that you're just not. Yeah, like in terms of care. It's funny that the questions are set up about care. But that's a different thing than race. Profession itself is necessarily. Professionally, to become a lawyer, you can say you can care as deeply as you want to, you just have to care about the system. But as a profession,
You can certainly do all of those things. You can do the post-ethical thing. But it's you.
well, okay.
Like stuff like that, like I don't know what kind of ethics tests they have in law school, but or law school, whatever. Like, but I don't know, every ethics test I've ever taken is never been about specific cases. It's always been about like, can you explain the three basically main different schools of thought about influence? Like, did you base what you're gonna do on the past, the present, or the future? That's the only thing. Oh no, the attorney stuff is like, are you gonna get arrested if you do this?
8 doctors walk into a bar, 7 of them malpractice lawsuits. How many drinks do you drink?
But getting married to a lawyer, right?
Oh, no.
Very common.
They do
But they always say, no. It's not.
I think I can give you. I don't think that you should take it. I don't think that a non-barred person who's gone to a law school can give you legal advice. But I'm not representing myself as a lawyer. Whereas if you've been to law school, you kind of implicitly are.
So she can't give advice just on the street? That's the bar.
That's partial.
I'm saying in the sense of like, her giving me advice, I'm giving me advice, let's say legally, in terms of just on the street, not in her profession.
If I were representing myself as an attorney, it would be. But you know that I'm not an attorney, and so it makes it differently. Whereas opposed to somebody said, like, I'm going to law school, you
I'm saying
look
is
at them and say, like, oh, they know about this.
I was thinking about it like, because you know, in certain areas, like, if someone does like a buffet, it's like that person in the street beating up on someone is some like, some, I think in law it's a little different. Because they're like, your hands are actual trained weapons, like considered weapons, because of what you do. So in that sense, similar to
Yeah, I don't have training in mind for law.
The whole point of the law is that you're out of bullshit. Like, the whole point is that, like average citizen, like the whole equality, like equal rights, is like you or I should be allowed to like look at all the laws and like, you know, decide like, I disagree with this one, or I can't believe Senator so and so voted that thing. You know, that's the way it's supposed to work, but it doesn't work. That it's just way too many fucking words for anybody who has a life.
Also, a lot of people are really dumb.
Yeah,
They're generally people whose interns are right.
I mean, when I feel like they do, they're like, wow, like most people are really stupid. That's kind of the mentality definitely when they're right.
I mean,
I don't think it's more. I think there's certain things that it's complicated. If you don't study it, like someone who you say like, wow, they did like programming and all that. It's complicated, but it's like it's hard to make it turn programming into something English. It's kind of like it's inherently complex.
the common law system is, there's a lot to it. It's whatever. You're looking at you.
There you go.
They don't have very much cookies and cream.
If you look at like legal decisions now, you can find like, the precedent for these decisions is based on things that happened in England. Yeah. So like there was a really famous case that was for your law school classes. That's like these sailors. It was like a case. The whole like lost at sea. Some case that murder, right? And it's like really famous for your law school class. Like you do murder. Yeah, the question is, what's that murder? Right?
Yeah.
Lost to
You kill someone.
It's actually-
I feel like the eating them has nothing to do with it. You killed someone. Is it like
they did
defensive
not-
murder?
They did not define it as
what was the defense?
I know you were going to get this.
Desperate times call for desperate times.
yeah, well, like probably it worked out as they drew straws to see who was.
Oh, so it was like a.
They didn't want to. They were about to die. Somebody's
Yeah.
going to die.
Well, that one guy,
Sorry.
So common law, what you're thinking of is statutory law. Statutory law is where there's an explicit technical definition of what the law states and what the law.
The statutory and civil laws and
So common law is based on precedent, which means that there was a decision made in the court about it. And it's not based on a technical law about it. This is generally.
that's why it's bullshit, because you don't actually make a decision and you just say like, well yeah, 50 years ago, that guy is dead now.
Well, they can always change common law. And the thing is, if you do it based on the technical law, well, that's fucking bullshit. 50 years ago,
Yeah,
so why
exactly.
create this law? So common law actually allows for more movement than
So murders under common law.
Common law is like our legal system, so like only England and the US do it. Whereas like civil law is like Napoleonic Code, it's like France and the rest of Europe do that.
Well, also, it's not even the U.S. If you go to
Yeah, common law is a more common law.
yeah, well, yeah, but like if you go to Louisiana, right? They don't have parish.
Well, that's because
Yeah,
Louisiana is
exactly.
different because it's Napoleonic law.
Yeah.
The state of Louisiana.
So how does that change?
It's because there's so like when it's based on precedent,
This
there's
is very good by the way.
like the longer your system ages, the more difficult it is for people to practice law. Yeah, we just that.
This is from Selena. It's just past Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
And tell me why is it crazy?
It's just not like any other. I mean, it's like relatively they might be over, like it's just not like anything else.
What?
Just the Napoleonic like laws, the way laws are adapted.
Just affect how it's applied.
In the end, like, it's generally quite the same. Like, you still have like federal law, right? But like some of the state laws are different. I believe they arrive at those laws with different. I mean, you know, you're still going to have like a lot of similar laws, just because we all kind of have it, generally culturally based, like morality and ethics systems. But it's like you could sit down and write something in Java, and then you could sit down and write it in I don't know, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember something that's like right off the wall. Yeah, right. And it's like
Paul and Min right now.
heck knows what that is, but they got to the same place. It's a similar idea. The birthday cake.
You gonna offer Justin that?
You want some?
Yeah, very good.
You know, your white chocolate.
Yeah. But also, it's something like that. When we're grasping things that are very nice to read.
That was fun. It's chocolate usually.
Yeah, with birthday cake, with it, walnut, like chocolate birthday cake.
Could be. Well, I mean, it is Trader Joe's.
It's Trader Joe's.
They can try to see.
That's an everything.
Wow. Well, my girl goes, or I'll try, I'll go.
Those are like
I like how that's a little level of effort you're gonna put in if I actually was like,
medically trained.
doesn't matter, see my life, I don't care. I hate that, that's another thing I hate, where people are like, oh, you can't do CPR unless you have like a thing, like, I'm like, look, if I'm seeing someone die on the street, I'm like gonna beat on their jet, I'm gonna do something, I don't
Once
care.
they're aged, you know what you do.
Who cares?
I mean, I
Do
know
something.
Frederick Stella was
but
like,
also, you wouldn't even
So
get
what?
CPR yet.
Oh, he died in 5 seconds instead of 10. Good fucking deal.
What you would
someone
do,
was coming to save him.
right, you would do ABC, you wouldn't even get the airway. And you'd be like, oh, it's first close.
Yeah, you're like, let me put my knee on this.
I know did that. And it's like a little, it's like dumb stuff, smart stuff.
I didn't go ask if anybody had been in trouble.
Probably good.
First step is just
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but say okay, say that shit all the time.
Alright, tech creating a little bit.
I'm just saying, kids just say that all the time, like, oh, I can't do CPR because I didn't get sued. I'm like, then stop learning CPR. I'm learning it for the wrong reason.
I
I'm
really
learning
I like to be consistent with this life of societal norms. It's a perspective.
Very contrary.
You're appreciated.
Some plants and chips.
It's all my time. It's just really good.
Like chocolate, skin.
Alright.
Someone of mine was like, I was looking at them,
Which was like dangerous.
and I was like, I'm getting it for a friend who really loves Hershey's cookies and cream.
Oh,
She's like, that'll be the trick.
yeah.
Or the
It's almost as good.
Make like a what can we how can we like really upscale white chocolate?
We can try.
We
Not
can make
possible.
we can do like a spread and do a whole day.
What is
White
that?
chocolate.
This is a whole different language.
Mole is a sauce, bro.
I don't know.
Mole sauce is like what you put on like chili chocolate.
Justin, I think you're on.
You really
Chocolate?
You really do make mole with chocolate.
Well, it might have chocolate in it. I'm thinking like frosting because I don't think chocolate.
You get your you get
What do you see here? I don't want to sauce. It doesn't. It's like spicy.
Mole. Yeah, it's gotta stick to it, but it's always chocolate is that definition of chocolate.
Most people think chocolate tastes like that. Chocolate's really bitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, like the dark. I mean, I've had this stuff.
It's really like just chocolate without pouring cream and sugar.
You want to
I mean, I don't hate it, but obviously it's not my favorite. Yeah, I like the chocolate that tastes really good.
He's got a point milk and sugar taste.
It says generally contains a fruit, chili pepper, and spices, black pepper, cinnamon, sugar.
Traditional mole is
doesn't
It
say,
says
doesn't say anything about like cocoa.
it says like it can have it.
So, what do you
Really?
Yeah, it says like it's like possible.
force them to eat it? It's
It says
Oh,
Oaxaca,
you-
Oaxaca's best
Those
known
are
for
good.
Those will be good for a couple of days.
Eating like that?
Well, I covered it overnight. The recipe says in an airtight container for last couple of days. And even after a couple of days, it'll just be stale.
also again, the most common foodborne illnesses will be through your system in less than 24 hours.
Oh yeah, this is the one you were saying.
Yeah, but it's a day can be a long time.
Just a
You
terrible
said,
philosophy.
you said if it hits you within 24 hours,
Yeah,
it's
if,
not that
if
bad.
you get sick like 2 days after eating something, you need to
Yeah.
because that's like terrible. Like you need something to get sick like 8 hours later. You're fine. Like drink some water.
that medical advice? With maybe friends?
It's food science.
I'll cite you.
I went to the doctor once. After I came back from the Dominican Republic. I was sick. Fever, I was sweating. Couldn't go too far from the bathroom. And I was like, I don't know if it's a virus or something. I went to the doctor. Last month, what did he eat? Chicken empanadas off the street. It didn't taste very good. He's like, yeah, you rolled the dice and you got snake eyes. He just laughed me out of his office. Are you serious?
They didn't even help you.
I'm telling you,
You just said,
maybe it sounds crazy, but no one talks. Please have me go through this.
It's not the fact that you know about it. That's not the fact. It's the fact how willing you are to jack yourself. You're that is crazy.
When I lived there, when I was going to school, I had a meal plan and I converted it into my own house. So I started off by eating Kansas. I sent you a few friends who helped. So I can see if you have people that someone
Yeah, doesn't surprise me.
But gain more time for my plan for the new thing. The Silvi.
what do you mean?
You gotta talk through my plan. I feel like this is really similar. Last one, and I think
Yeah.
like shoving a bunch of like value change without having to actually do it.
So maybe we should just have it once to avoid a bunch of change. Once it. Once.
Yeah, I gotta go so I can get the flowers. There you go. I'll get 6.
I was really just Justin, what time is it? Yeah, I was really
Let's just say that was necessary. Okay.
we're not doing it.
No, let's just say that was necessary.
Oh, so we're going?
Yeah.
Want to see it? Mobile engagement file. That's what we use.
Oh, street.
It was 3, and then I got that. 3, 4.
What are these?
good. That's it.
Yeah, we can do one more to
Okay.
one more on the game. Yeah.
Alright, conservative.
So serve.
You can serve. Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
But so that'll be over. We're good. Got it. You got it anyway. No. Alright. Great.
And we just had
Alright, done.
wait, who's up? Me? I thought so.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't want to.
Alright. Not done.
Okay. That was intense. Yeah, I got lucky there on the last two.
Getting better than.
We know if there's any abnormal slowness on Long Island going on.
Yeah, it looks like something's happening.
Uh-oh. We just gotta.
Justin.
I always have keep it.
What?
Walking online.
Oh.
Basically, what I want to do is I told you.
Keep that on the DL.
What?
Keep that on the DL.
Sam just said there is something.
Alright.
Well.
Alright. You want to show Colton the leaderboard?
Yeah.
Yeah, and anything I'll just let her know.
Oh, what is going on?
That's not true. Hey, Doug.
What?
Doug!
Yo, this is such a bitch, bro. Like, straight up.
What, Prescott?
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Let's talk about it.
Well, all the zeros, first of all, I just figured out. I just got these guys in here. Now, after the audience, no, there's 5 audiences. They sent 5 audiences this morning.
Oh, we're only sending one message. Oh, are we sending 5 messages today?
I have no idea. I'm just trying to. There's 6 out of the 200 people they sent today. There were 67 of them that existed in Long Island. So I took. First, you have to VLOOKUP who those students were, and then get their old ID next to their new ID. Then add 3 leading zeros to it. Then VLOOKUP whoever's on the new audience file to change their contact ID to be their old one. And then it's looking at all 5 of those audience files, change their old 6-digit ID to the old ID that's in Long Island. What? Yeah, it's just it's basically I can't get it. Yeah.
That's the type of page one we create for ourselves.
Are you going to get something? So where you get Subway? Dude, yeah, I'd love a freaking Subway.
Yeah.
Subway? It's like it.
Yeah. See that?
Dude, I'm gonna text you right now.
Oh, sorry.
I already ate. I had meatballs and rice, vegetables, Yes.
Those are the light. Those are the skinny mints.
What's that?
What up? What's up, dude?
So,
Yeah.
pretty good. I only got like
That's awesome, bro. 10 minutes to the weekend. You guys going crazy.
Tech went crazy a long time.
Are you able to set the invoice target?
Just have the voice on the pole.
We keep it. Just one book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like people, Hunter told me he just gave you a ring, like a voicemail. Is there any time where us three can sit down for 15 minutes to want to get your feedback, blah, 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 blah.
You have auto response.
So, well, the contact properties isn't as relevant. That's like, how do you build a list? You can say it's based off of property contact, and it's based off of their activity on the platform. So, like, the question to ask here is, hey, are you already using lists? So, we've got contacts, if for instance, yes, those lists sync
Like copy.
as audience.
I wouldn't put it as would be before.
No.
Like if they go to the static
Yep, and yeah, very, very simple. And then,
the static was you get to see and I think or after
so all roads and
right, so if you take
all the data
something and it's not a done.
way of getting the instructors to tell you
Yeah, so that's where the next time is also. So they're not into that
integration. Or whatever. So in this case, we have a connector that goes and exports every contact method that is creating something.
yeah,
Not necessarily.
oh, yeah, I got
Fast.
It's super easy. Then there's the other one for contacts.
That's
Oh, free Actually, yeah, I mean, I have never not observed about. But to know that, always in and come in and export your whole log. So, yeah, without saying that, I don't know. Yeah, so they'll be able to come into our system, export any log, that she needs, but she's not going to be able to buy anything so I don't really know where your contact is. Hotspot is CRM plus reporting I did that. Well, I'm going to give you a comment. I don't all. I didn't see an easy place to take that. I don't know. Also, I'm using it with updates on contacts.
Also usually I like the way I like coffee and add a lot
Oh yeah, exactly.
Is Long Island looking better, Sam?
Yeah, but the same thing happened. 1, 2, 3,
Someone sent out a huge campaign.
could be 5, but 5 times in the last week.
Wow. And they look very similar.
They're super small. They only last. It only lasts for a few minutes, but I want to understand what's going on. So it's fine for now, but
I think my issue is that you're kind of blending this with other issues. I understand.
Yes, I'm hopeful that on the conversation with Hubspot, still around. That's why we have conversation with you guys. It's easier for us to say we do this right. I also independently look that's a big one. It's a big one. Don't argue around the children.
No problem. We don't really operate out somehow.
I didn't say anything then, but you do any of it?
Hey, Joey, it's something.
Doug. Text me yet?
No.
Man, I'm gonna kick your ass at 9. I think I'm gonna get 18. I guarantee you I beat you by 20 strokes over 18 holes. I'll give you a 20 handicap on 18 strokes.
I'll take it. Golf courses are for closers.
They have to fucking closes. I'm the one that's not fucking closing over here.
Yeah, close that bracket, close that query.
Alright, that's good.
Okay.
Alright.
Anthony was just asking, just said, Monday, but I wanted to, he was just asking.
You allowed in? You check my ID?
What's that?
You check my ID?
You guys are safe.
Yeah, well, just, I mean, today for the last day, Jean's working 6 hours. So that's why I'm out. Can you hear me better? Okay, I just switched rooms, hopefully that works. I was just saying, so July 1 is on Monday, and so just for the sake of especially implementation, we want to make sure that we can start right off the bat. Jamie's our I'm good. I'm about to head into two back-to-back meetings, but I'll be checking my emails around it. All right, sounds good. I'll look forward to hearing from you later. All right, sounds good. Bye-bye.
So like, it's gonna go to, you gotta just, yeah. Slash me. So the how it works.
Okay, so I.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, okay, but you still gonna do the items on one of them work today, I'm already playing video games in yeah, well, moving away from me. Yeah, you mentioned it's only from town to me. Dude, that's small, that's deep over there.
Luck with your.
Yeah, this is something this is so fucked up, dude. It's like the middle of a shit show over here. Like they're like, oh, we need to send a message fucking right now. It's just it's like a good hour of Excel work, like copy pasting, like and all this like VLOOKUP on like which spreadsheet and on why. And it's like simple intro. This is like fucking. It's not to finish it up, so it's like this is all it's like when you sell it, zeros there too.
Tuesday on this one.
This one has leading zero. Audiences leading zero. How about this? Because this is technically a number value that just shows up as a text. That's all that. That shows up as a text.
Where the hell is this?
There you go. Oh, I mean. That. I'm not doing the Excel one. I'm going to make like bullshit. I hear I have 57.
So that's what my work is. I also yeah, I'll send you an invite here.
Yeah, right.
I'm glad you're done with the Excel part.
I'll see you at 5. How about that? Well,
Yeah, see you on Slack.
Yeah. You're right.
That is 9 a.m. on Tuesday. I'll just double check. Yeah. Absolutely. I'll see Kelly. I want to say she's back on Sunday. She understood. That sounds good to me. Like I said, I'll send that to you ASAP here before we work on Tuesday. All right, have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
What does she do? I'm just curious. Okay. Do you know where she got that advice from? It's not that important. I was just curious. What? Oh, really? Okay. Well, I am curious now. Okay. But I appreciate it. Any plans for tonight? Yeah, seriously. Chat very wrong. Wow. Well, here's how you solve it. You pick a coin and flip it. Yeah. Yeah. I would say for this coin, if you got it, that you would, you'll figure it out. The Cody's got to go. Is that easy?
Getting like squirrels.
I'm fucking some shit up over here, man.
What are you doing?
I don't know. Just multiple students and fucking records and all this shit. Yeah, it's like it's a bunch of good kids, but like I tried to take them out as best I could in like the student file they sent because it's like it's the same school and they can't use the same S3 bucket, so like I had to set up like a whole like GitLab repo. It's hard for me because I don't like really know like what, I know that you need like FTP username, FTP domain, and all this other stuff. But I don't like really understand like where it's going or like what's happening.
But just because.
Yeah, but he's like just off this morning and just failed production.
Yeah.
Which is slacks me right now. No, I know you just get sleep and all this stuff, but I wish I just knew how to do it better.
But that's learning.
Yeah. So, fail production university. It's a Reagan Award. Damn.
Well, there were a bunch that wasn't.
Yeah.
No, I just changed something. SFTPs, that is.
We're heading on hold.
It's supposed to be this one, right? the outcome.
That's just your yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter what this is. This is
I think it's voted it's like sleeping guards.
Oh, really?
yeah, whatever you put there.
That's really what you need. And you should probably ask for some more experience.
Like, get it in.
Yeah. Around
Yeah, I see.
someone that you someone who's more similar to
It just said.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, not with
Here. It's this one.
Love you, kid. Have a good
Only alright now.
We're going this weekend is Jesse, San Angelo's, so we're going to driving. Oh, so you got 2 pizzas?
Unforgettable. I'm a different person than I was.
What you guys talking about?
Ashlyn, don't you dare tell me.
I won't. I'm not.
Thank God.
This one.
Who is that? Who said that?
Don't even.
What? With dating, I have such a personal connection with one. It was like nobody else going out there. Yes. Literally nobody. Yeah. No one. I'm gonna take out
Anchovies.
That's right.
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
With anchovies?
Yes.
You chose to get
I love anchovies.
I will say that I don't know.
Los anchovies.
Would you make a really great salad dressing though?
So my sister, who works in school, told me that before the fall to take all my money out of the stock market if I have any in it,
Okay.
because we're gonna reach the debt ceiling. So
That's good to
take that
know.
advice. She just called me to tell me that right now.
Keep all my money under. Really did this in the least efficient way possible.
Sometimes she calls me to tell me not to make any important decisions because the stars, Mercury's in retrograde.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have very blunt communication this week.
Well, it's always good to know what's coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mercury in retrograde is a very serious thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, apparently it happens very frequently.
Yeah.
It's just like a convenient thing to be able to blame bad things on.
Yeah.
No, it's not convenient. That's weird.
It's inconvenient.
Come on, Daniel.
All right.
I was just thinking about how good our private lunch was.
You want to split it? A straw.
I'll leave it to you.
Oh, you're so nice.
All right. So I learned a bunch of stuff. Let's go to the S3 bucket, and we're gonna create a new bucket.
Are you gonna cast it?
Yeah, I'm working trying.
I'm gonna make another one.
Yeah, and name it leaderboard dot whatever your domain name was that you created.
That makes sense.
The reason it wasn't showing up in Route 53 is that it actually needs the domain name to be the same.
Where do you create
Let's go back to the
S3. You search for
S3?
wait, let me see.
Name it
Leaderboard dot whatever your domain was.
yeah. So like I have one leaderboard dot fullmeasure.io. That's real.
Got it. Without with the .com.
And then we can go to Route 53. Go to hosted zones. Choose your hosted zone, or it is, or your domain rather. Create record set. Type leaderboard. And then choose alias yes. And when you click into alias target, you should see your endpoint.
Wait, can you go back? It's you go to host
Route
zones,
53.
create your host zones.
Yeah. So go to you should. Do you still not have hosted zones?
I got the other one after
Let me see.
my old one. Okay, I'm in hosted zones. You said create hosted zones?
No, click on.
This
click on
is
the
not the one that I
domain.
made. Oh, okay. Maybe you'll have it.
Well, if that's not what you named your
I named it leaderboard dot.
that.
Mhm.
Okay, that's right then.
Static website hosting.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you should be fine. So then click create record set. Then click alias, and then it should be there. Yeah, and then you probably want to do leaderboard dot.
Even though that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
You didn't name S3 bucket leaderboard dot, so you're saying, Daniel? Or?
No, I had made something else that had the same name. Let me go remove that.
I still only. What did you do if you only have one? Show me.
Click it.
Click it.
And
It's in
then,
hosted zones.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what my issue is.
and then create record set, Evan, if that's where you are.
Yep.
And then put leaderboard in for the name. For alias, click yes.
Yep.
And then when you click into the alias name,
It's there.
then you can click create at the bottom.
Fantastic. I have 3 record sets because I went through the process 2 other times.
Nice. They don't matter. They're just extra. I mean, you can delete them if you want, but. Oh, you should. No. You probably don't have 3. Don't delete those. Hold on. Does it look like these 3 that are up here?
Yeah,
It says displaying 1 to 3 out of 3 record sets.
it's the same.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because the first 2 are auto-created as part of the Route 53 stuff. That's like your real domain stuff. The A name that we create here is an alias subdomain. So it's still based on your domain. So you can create as many subdomains on your domain as you want. And we've done one that's the alias. The other two, though, are like your root routing stuff. So you don't ever want to delete these two. All right. And it looks like these values are saying like we have a UK version and a COM version and org version. Yeah.
Nice.
People paying attention to us. Basically, the routing is going to go through multiple DSLs. All right. So now that we have that, if you go look at my stencil project on GitLab.
Yours?
Yeah, so if you search for stencil to-do list. It's just in the class stencil to-do list. There's a new file. Why is it not here? Where is it? What? That's not possible. What? I mean, I can send it to you guys, but the whole reason why the thing was running, it doesn't. What? It still says the initial commit too. Oh, it's on a branch. Yeah, it's because it's on a branch. It's on that HTTP request branch, but I can merge that. Alright, there you go. So now it should be there. There's a new file called .gitlab-ci.yaml.
Yes.
You want to download that and then place it inside of your stencil projects at the base level. So you can see in mine, it's right next to the .gitignore file.
Can you quickly do the GitLab-CL?
Sorry, you want what?
Can you quickly show me how you made the GitLab-CL thing up?
The GitLab-CI?
Yeah, or CI.
You can just download this file.
Is it just in?
It's in the stencil to-do.
Reload the project page. Oh yeah, you
I have to go. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. So you GitLab-CL.
GitLab-CI. So CI is continuous integration. So we have CI/CD, that stuff that runs. That's continuous integration, continuous deployment. It's just a way of saying when you do a commit to a repo, it should actually push it out.
Just throw it in, even though the other one was a .gitlab, and it was just GitLab.
So you want to rename it to have a dot in front of it. And then don't push it until we talk through some things.
So I can't open it in RubyMine?
Oh no, just move it in.
Just move it in the repo and then.
Go do it and find it.
Yeah.
I was able to move it. I was just curious if I could see the inside of it.
You can't. Well, once it's in once you put it into the project, it'll show up in your RubyMine. You can open it in a RubyMine. It's just more of a. It doesn't know that you can open it in a RubyMine.
Pasting that stuff into
A new file. It's also fine.
in your root, right?
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Right click on it and then there's a refactor. It's called.
Oh, yeah.
Just find it.
It's .gitlab-ci.y.
YAML. Yep. Everybody there?
Yes.
All right. Just so we don't confuse ourselves, get rid of line 9, that verify tag. It just says -verify, just delete it. Alright. So we're gonna walk through this file, and then we'll try to get some of your credentials set up.
Do we want to record this?
What's that?
Do we want to record this?
It's recording. It is, yeah.
Cool.
It's up. So, although I should probably be careful about what I show,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
because we're gonna get to credentials. So I might have to turn this off at some point. All right. So, these pieces here are really simple. The AWS default region just says, hey, if I'm interacting with AWS, I want to be using US East 1. You guys actually might have set things up in US East 2, which is the Ohio region. So you just want to change that to 2. You could probably leave it. Probably doesn't matter. If you run into the problem, we'll fix it. Get strategy clone says anytime that I'm pulling down my project, I want to use the clone as opposed to just a fetch. Clone says like start from scratch. Fetch would say just get like any changes that have happened. Clone is the cleaner, like I just want the whole thing down. TZ time zone, if you're using any time zone information, pretend like you're in Eastern Standard Time. Stages are going to be 2, build and deploy. You can have as many stages as you want. Stages are just like steps. So if we go back, there's a visual indicator of what's happening on GitLab. In our CI/CD pipelines, there's stages. So right now we have our first step, which is build, and our second stage, which is deploy. Okay, so 2 stages. You can put as many tasks, they're called, as you want in a particular stage. Okay, so in the first stage is our build stage. Right now we only have 1 task, and in our deploy stage we have 2 tasks. Okay. So that's all we're doing is we're defining what our stages are going to be named here. So we're going to have 2 of them. One's named build, one is named deploy. Right. This is a little confusing because we named our task the same thing as the stage. It's okay, but the stage is what actually matters. We could have named this anything we want to. This is just a label of what will show up in our task. All right, so what this first task says is, okay, if I fail running this task, I'm going to retry it twice. I'm going to run during the build stage, so I'm going to run first. The order that you put these stages in matter. If we switch these, we'd run deploy first, and then we would run build. So that's important. So I'm going to run first. I'm going to run during this build stage. Image. This is really cool stuff. So image is saying go pull down a Docker image for node 10. So what it says is basically I want a computer that has node 10 installed on it and is ready to go for me to be able to run a program inside of it. Okay. So imagine like you've started from scratch, you have a brand new Mac, and then you installed node 10. That's basically what you're going to get when you put image node 10. What you're actually getting is a Linux box, but it's the same idea. Okay, so you're going to get a Linux box that has node installed on it, and the node version of 10, which is why it's node : 10. You can find all these images. They just come from Docker Hub. Started. I just want to search. So you can just search for a node, like what are the node things I can use. Well, here's an official node image. It's great. It's been downloaded 10 million times. Let me take a look at that. And then they tell you the tags. The tags are usually versions. So like node 10, which is what we're using here, is like one of these guys. But you can also do node 11, node 12.4, node 8.16.
How big is that?
The actual image itself, very small. So they're usually built on what are called Alpine images, which is like the smallest like Linux kernel that you can get. And so it's like just the very, very, very basic Linux things that you need the operating system to run, plus whatever you need to run Node, which is generally just Node. So it's a super small image. I mean, I think they probably give you the size somewhere, but it's minuscule. You don't even notice it. All right. So we get that we're going to use the Node 10 image, and then once we download the Node 10 image, what's going to happen is it's going to do a git clone of our repo onto that box, and then it's going to cd into where it put the repo. Okay, so it's just like we're starting inside of our stencil project. Okay, but on the with Node 10 on this Linux box that exists. Then we can run scripts. So this is the stuff that you would do in your terminal normally. You're just going to do it by writing them out here. So we actually don't need this first line. You guys can go ahead and delete that. That's if you have a private npm repo, you can use that. I'm not going to do that. Second step, you guys have done this a bunch of times probably already. npm install. So it's going to go get all of our node packages. It's going to install them so that our system's ready to go. Second thing, you guys have already done this at least once. npm install -g add stencil core latest save exact. Saying go get the stencil project, pull it down so I can build a stencil app. Okay. Third step, yarn build. You've done this a bunch probably. You probably do script build. It's the same thing. Yarn's automatically available on the node images. It's just a shorter syntax. It's the same thing. All right, so what we've done now, right? So we've said, okay, go get me an image of this Node 10 Linux box, start it up. Then I want you to go clone my GitLab repo down, cd into it, and then I want you to run my script. So I've installed my packages, I've installed stencil, and I've run build. You guys have been running npm run script start, which serves up the www directory. If you do build, it just does it without serving it to a browser. It's the same process. Creates your www directory with has all your compiled code inside of it. Okay. All right. Artifacts. Artifacts are cool. Artifacts are things that you can pass from one GitLab task to another. Okay, so anything that we create during this script process, which in our case is going to be that www directory, because that's not on GitLab, right? If you go look at your GitLab repo, you're going to see there's no www directory. There's just a source directory. Because www is just the compiled code, and so you don't need to send that back and forth. You can build it whenever you want to by running start or build. So we're doing that.
So would that be an R? Because you. Okay, never mind. I get it.
You see it? You see it?
Yeah.
Okay. So so we've done that during this build process in this task, but it's not in our actual repo. Okay. So we want to then take the results of that. So the www directory that's been created, we want to take it and we want to pass it on to the next task. But to do that, you use what are called artifacts. So artifacts, what they do is they say, okay, at the end of, so after I finish my script, I then want to take whatever paths are named here, and I want to save them. And then on my next task, I want to download them, okay, so that I don't have to rebuild again. So artifacts are things that you pass from one to the other. The name is important. The name tells you what you want to upload it to. So it's like the directory you're uploading to. And then on the next build, it's going to download from anything that has that same pattern. These are a little tricky. So CI commit SHA is the commit SHA. So for this particular commit, so in our case, it would be like EE6A79D blah, 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 dash CI commit ref. That's the branch you're on. So in our case, it would be master. Okay, so it's whatever the SHA is and then master. So it's pretty simple. You almost always use exactly that. It's almost always name. You can just always use that pattern. Except says don't do it if, and then you pass it regex related to the branch name. So in this case, it's saying do this build step unless you're on master or you're on release. So in our case, we actually don't need this entire thing because you're almost always going to be on master. You guys are doing it. Okay. But this is saying if I created a branch and I'm working on the branch, then I want you to do this. I want you to do something different if you're on master or release. And we'll see the usefulness of that in the future. Essentially, on master and release, you want to do things like version. You want to create an automated versioning system where you don't want to do that on a branch because it hasn't actually made progress. All right. So that's our first task. You guys won't ever really run this unless you create a branch, but it's fine that it's there. Step.
Quick question, Sam. I included you on an invite. We need to do a security demo Tuesday morning at 9. Is that okay?
Oh, that's tough, buddy, because I'm on vacation.
You're on vacation?
Yeah.
I will have Ben able to do it.
So-
Maybe Tony can stand in a little bit.
What type of who are you talking to?
Robert Morris University Chief Security Officer. He basically outlined all the questions he has.
If you send me the questions, I can tell you if that's okay. All right, so that's our first task. We did the first task. We move on to this next task. The next task is also on stage build. Okay, so we're not going to do the first task actually on stage build unless we're on a branch. Okay, this is what we're going to do on stage build if we're on that branch. So you see this one says accept master and release. This one says only master and release. Okay, so we do these on our branches. We do these on our production build branches. So again, stage build, retry again says 2. This is if anything fails in our script or before script, it's going to try again that many times. You can retry up to 2 times, so you can try it 3 times in total. Okay, that's just so that if the internet fails during a try, like you can do it again and maybe it works a second time or anything like that. All right, image again. We're going to get a Node 10 image. Before the script, we're going to run yarn install. It's the same thing as npm install that you guys have been doing. Yarn's just a different way of doing npm packaging. And then npm build, again, same thing as npm run script build. So we're creating our www directory. And again, all we're doing in this case is artifacting and sending it. Okay. So in our case, these 2 tasks are actually more or less identical. But we're only going to do one on branch and one on the other. The reason why they exist like this is because I took it from something where there is a differentiator. It's just that you guys don't happen to care about it. All right. So that's cool. So we've done our entire build. And then we're going to do deploy. Now, deploy, we'll see, has 2 tasks. So we have this push to release task, and we have this S3 deploy task. We're actually going to start by looking at the S3 deploy task. All right, so what this is going to do is, the build step is done. We've put into artifacts the www directory, the node modules, and the package.json. We've sent that up. That's sitting in a folder. So when we get to the S3 deploy, we're going to download all of these 3 things because they're in our artifacts. So they're going to be put back into the same position that they were taken from.
Wait, why are they downloaded there?
So when you artifact something in any stage, any subsequent stages will download them. Does that make sense? Yep, automatically. You don't have to name it. If you don't want it to do that, there are ways of telling it not to do that. But by default, it downloads them. So now we're in our S3 deploy stage. We don't want a node image anymore. We want an AWS CLI image because what we're going to do is use AWS CLI commands to sync our www directory to the S3 bucket. That's a very simple command. It's just AWS S3 sync, the name of the directory you want to sync from, which in our case is www, the name of the S3 bucket you want to sync to, and then there's some flags about, this is saying allow delete, and then what your granting privileges are. So like why you're allowed to do that. We'll have to set some of this up probably for your AWS buckets. So most likely when you guys go to run this for the first time, your S3 deploy is going to fail. That's okay. We'll be getting pretty close. All right. The second deploy task, so this is going to run in parallel if you want it to, is called push to release. What this is going to do, so if we come down here, we say when manual. That's important. When manual is a cool little trick that you can use in the CI when you want somebody to have to manually come press the button. So by default, these stages, these tasks will run automatically. If you want somebody to click a button, you can say when manual, and then only when they click that button will it actually run that task, which is nice. So like if you're waiting for QA or something, you can say wait until somebody clicks the button, and that's the only time it goes up. In our case, what that's going to do is push it from a branch that's called master to a branch that's called release. So we can have a master and a release. Okay, so a stage and a release essentially. All right. So what this does, we can come down here and we see, okay, retry 2, dependencies none. This is how you say, I don't want to download any of the artifacts. You can explicitly name dependencies too. So you could like say I want this one. So you can name, because of the way that you name artifacts, you can say what explicitly you want to download. But the image we're going to use is Alpine Node Git. So it's another Alpine Linux box that has Node on it and it has Git on it, so that we can do Git commands. So again, it's basically nothing. It's this very small Linux core, and then we've installed Node and then we installed Git. And we're going to do, so this is an echo. All echoes do is print something, so you can just read who the GitLab user is. We're going to set up our Git config. So we did this like on our first day of class, except that in this case we're setting it to be like a robot user who we've created for GitLab, which is dev@fullmeasureed.com, and their username is fme-ci. We're going to say git remove origin, which is saying like get rid of any sort of Git things that were automatically done by GitLab. And then we're going to git remote add origin, and what these two pieces do is they say use these credentials. So when we're adding the origin, what we're doing is adding it for fme-ci, which is our user, and we're using a GitLab CI token. We'll go over how to get those, but it's basically a password. It's just a fancy one. Okay.
Tangent.
Yep.
When it does network requests, that's still my IP.
Not yours. All of this is happening in the cloud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So when you push something to GitLab, you get some runners that are for free, which is what you guys are going to use. They've already been configured and set up for you. You can also set them up on your own. Like we've done that here. So we can spin up like 50 boxes, I think, at a time, which will run like 500 jobs or something, 500 GitLab jobs, tasks like this at a time. So we can push all kinds of stuff all over the place and run them all up and down and whatever. You guys have, I think it's like 200 hours or something. There's some amount of time that you get for free when you're on GitLab. You'll use those. Now the problem with that is they're public, so don't put anything sensitive on there. But it's also, you guys are doing little projects. It's fine. All right. So we're just saying go ahead and get the origin for this project that we're currently working in. So it's your project, your leaderboard project. And then we're going to check out a branch called release, and we're going to push to release, and we're going to force push to release. Force push says ignore anything that's there, any conflicts, whatever. I just want to overwrite whatever is on that branch with whatever I have on the branch locally. Okay. So we're force overwriting the release branch. And then once you push it to release, the tasks will take off again because something failed. So when it works, that's weird that because this particular user doesn't have, so he's authenticated for all the full measure things, but he's not in our group because we have Adam. So he has to be a member of this group. Nope. Make him owner. There we go.
Travis.
Yeah. So we used to have, we used to use Travis CI, which is a way of doing some of this same thing, but they cost a lot of money, and they don't have some of the neat things that GitLab has, like that push button and things like that. So we switched to the cheaper, better version, but we had the user already, so we just kept using it. All right, so, but what'll end up happening is that when we retry this, it'll push it onto the release branch, and then the release branch will run those tasks where we said to run them, right? So in our case, we said run the distribution create on the release branch, and that's it. So the push to release only runs on master. Actually, we say to run the S3 too. So if you don't put an only or an except, it'll run on everything by default. So it'll also do this. But what you can see happening here is, again, we're using environment variables. So we're saying push to leaderboard.sandberg.com / the project name, which in our case is whatever you named your project. So mine is stencil leaderboard or stencil to-do list, and then CI commit ref name is going to be master. So if I wanted to go view this, then in S3, where it actually exists, is going to be there's going to be a folder here that's called stencil-to-do-list, and then inside of there's going to be a folder called master, and then inside of there's going to be a folder called www. Okay. And so then what I would route to is leaderboard.fullmeasure.io/leaderboard/master, and that's what would actually get me to where I want to be. Which we'll walk through how to fix that so that you don't have to go deep in like that, but that's what's going to happen. All right. So the purpose of this, hopefully what we get is, this is just a simple configuration file for being able to run scripts using computers that have the software that we need in a orderly, structured fashion. Right? That's all we're actually doing here. There's all kinds of really cool stuff that you can do. There's like hundreds of different Docker images that you can use. There's tons and tons of different ways that you can write your scripts inside of here. You can write JavaScript scripts that run inside of here that you call from the command line and get to go off. So you can do all kinds of really cool stuff, and you get feedback on it as to whether it's failing or passing and all of these things, which is really nice. We mostly have intended for these scripts to be able to be useful to you guys out of the box. There's a couple things, because each of you now has your own AWS that we have to configure specifically for you, because those are all set up for full measure use cases. But we should be able to do that relatively quickly. But once that's set up, having that file in there will just deploy your stuff to S3. You won't have to do anything about it. Okay. All right. So one thing I do want you guys to do, let's make sure that we get your permissions back. So make sure you go to your course configuration from the previous bucket and copy over the course configuration, so we don't run into that problem. It won't look like this. It'll look like what you put previously.
Taking it where?
It's in the,
yeah, it was in our old one.
yeah, but it's also in Slack, so you can look there if you want. And then we'll get you guys AWS credentials, and then everything should work.
Did we need to push the after we put the GitLab -CI in?
Yes, you have to push for it to work. Yep. Yeah, because only your computer knows about it. So.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if we had gotten there yet.
Yeah. Just put, because you've made a modification to the project repo. Yeah.
Up to
Yeah.
That's the only place.
Yeah, that's the only place it is. Yeah.
Hey Sam, what's up?
I was seeing some weird things. We saw some slowdowns happening. And I was looking at the RDS instance. Some weird stuff was happening.
Weird stuff. Let me take a look at the RDS.
Here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to share my screen. It's just not. Here. Yeah, you can see it. Can you see my screen?
Yep. That's a big.
Yeah, and it's this weird sync mutex NODB. I have no idea. If you look over the last week.
If you scroll down, what does it say in the SQL?
Yeah, stop it. Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know why it's not. There we go.
Okay.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
I mean, that just looks like campaign refresh crap.
That should be so.
It's always been our worst thing is this stupid legacy refresh.
Yeah. Okay. If I look in the last hour, it was these guys really that were causing. This one is where we saw the problem.
This is my bigger question. Why is there a massive... Oh, here you go. It's do not call request date. It looks like there's an integration that updated a do not call list, and it was a massive set, and it happened at like 140-ish.
We don't even do this in the integration though.
Well, I don't... Something did a do not call massive update.
What is do not call requested? Oh, you know what? I bet they
upload like a block list or something?
Well, they probably uploaded a field that we don't normally care about in integrations because they just happen to have one. Yeah, I'll go ask them about it.
I mean, that just looks like somebody uploaded a CSV with a column because they were trying to populate in the database.
I know, but it should have gone into custom attributes.
No, I suspect they actually wanted to put them on the do not call.
I don't even know what that means, Brendan. Like, we don't call anybody.
Oh, it doesn't even use. We don't even use that.
Yeah.
I remember that field way back when in call center. That was when you click the do not call, we put that data in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think there was a school that happened to have a field called do not call request date that happened to match a field we no longer use.
Oh. Yeah, that could be. But that's what it is. Somebody did a bulk upload, whether it's through CSV or upload manually.
Yeah. Or some weird integration. Maybe it's, yeah. But, okay. All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
See ya.
Talk to you later.
All right. Sorry, man. I tried to make your life better, but I don't know that I did.
You're good. I don't know. Did I have to change things? Really? Yeah,
Ruined your life.
it's Friday, man. I know I can just do it and get out.
Yeah, that's right.
I know the ballpark near where you live.
All right, this is where I have to stop sharing. I'm gonna go show you guys generally where you want to go.
Ashley, did you get that screen too?
Mm-hmm.
So if you go into your group, whichever one makes the most sense for you, and then you go to Settings, CI/CD. To make sure you're in Daniel or Ashlyn or Evan or Justin. Then we're going to expand these variables. We're going to put environment variables in. And any environment variable that you set here is available in every task that you run through the GitLab CI. Yeah. So, for full measure, we have a whole bunch of them, right? All of these variables are available in any project when you're running a GitLab CI task. These are available to it. So there are certain things, like you see already we have a GitLab CI token that's been made available. We need to copy and paste this over to your repo so that you can use our dev at full measure to do the auto stuff. But you're also going to need AWS credentials so that you can do your S3 setup. So you're going to need an AWS access key and secret access key, which I'll show you guys how to set up. I'm going to stop recording now though because we can't actually show these things.